this video, now that we know about ATP, we're going to look at photosynthesis and just a quick overview of the materials that we kind of need to do photosynthesis. And then in future videos we'll look at the actual names of the reactions and where they take place at. But just an overview about photosynthesis, we do need to know the definition. So in photosynthesis we're using the energy of sunlight, and we are converting water and carbon dioxide into two items. We're making two things. That would be carbohydrates and oxygen. Now carbohydrates you might know of as glucose or sugars, so sometimes you'll see those in the place of the word carbohydrates. If we take our word equation and actually put it into what we call a chemical equation, we're using the symbol for water, H2O, using the symbol for carbon dioxide, but it also tells you how many of each ones you need. So you need 6 carbon dioxide molecules, 6 water molecules, you need sunlight, and then when you have that you make this. This is our 1:1 carbohydrate ratio, so this is glucose, and then 6 oxygen molecules. And again, it's kind of another simplified word equation. So carbon dioxide, water with light produce glucose and oxygen. Definitely something that you are going to need to know. Now for you visual people, this might be helpful if you think about what goes in. These are called your reactants. They are your ingredients. These are the things that you have to have in order for photosynthesis to work. Sunlight, carbon dioxide, and water. What you have coming out of the plant, it's not that glucose actually comes out of the plant, but this is what you're making. We call this the products side. And so that's where that arrow comes in. When you see items over here and you see items over here, these are your reactants. These are your products. That's what you're making. Now, in order for photosynthesis to work, there are a few items that we need. We already know we need the water and the carbon dioxide, but light is a key component that we need. And also with light comes pigments. Pigment is a light-absorbing molecule. We all have pigments, whether it's the pigment of our skin. Plants have pigments that deal with how they change to different colors. So a pigment is just anything that absorbs light. For plants, the main pigment that a plant has is called chlorophyll. And chlorophyll is what gives the plant the green leaves that you see most of the time. Now in the fall, when the leaves are starting to change color, like you see in this picture, notice some are orange, some are more yellow, some are very red. We get such a wide range of different colors. Now what happens is that chlorophyll is really susceptible to temperature. So when the temperature starts to cool down, chlorophyll breaks apart and goes away, and it kind of, disappears, okay? And that means that the other pigments that are inside of the leaf will start to show up. So there are multiple pigments inside of a plant. It's not just chlorophyll, there are other ones there as well. And when the chlorophyll breaks down and goes away, whatever the next highest pigment is, that's the color that will show up, whether that's the yellow, the orange, the red, and so on. And we also need light, specifically from the sun. And light is actually a mixture of different wavelengths. Some of you may have been able to take light and put it into a prism. And when you do that, you get all of these colors. They're the colors of the rainbow. And we have an acronym to help us remember those, and that's Roy G. Biv. And that is right here. Red, orange, yellow, green, blue, indigo, and violet. So Roy G. Biv is not the name of a person, like I've had people say before. It's actually the first letter of each color that we get. And so when light hits a plant, you and I don't see red, orange, yellow, green, blue, indigo, and violet coming out of the sun. We just see this white light. But the plant gets these different wavelengths that it's being hit with. Now some wavelengths the plant can absorb and use, and other colors actually get reflected back for our eyes to see. If we take a look at 3 different types of pigments that are in a plant, you notice that the absorption is over here. So this particular chlorophyll B is one of our pigments. It has very high absorption for this blue range. Okay, if we look at where this high amount is right here, they absorb a lot of blue light. Let's see, bacteria chlorophyll A, they absorb a lot of red light. So you can see what kind of on our color spectrum, the red, orange, yellow, green, blue, indigo, and violet. Notice where they don't absorb. Right in here, notice lots are way low on the absorption line graph. And notice where that is. That's kind of in the light blue to green area. And that is why plants appear green to us. They appear green because the plant is not absorbing the green. The absorption rate for green is really, really low. And so that's the color that gets reflected. Plants look green because they reflect green light. You and I aren't seeing what the plant absorbs. We're seeing what the plant reflects. That's what our eyes pick up. So the light that is absorbed, the blues and reds, those are going to get transferred to electrons. And when those electrons gain the energy from the light, that's going to make the electrons speed up, and it's actually going to raise the electrons into higher energy levels. And that will be really important as we move on into the next video, because the higher the energy level is for those electrons, then they can start to fuel this process of photosynthesis. These electrons are where this initial energy really comes from.